The topic of cyber arrest or the cyber security always remains in news, and within the cyber security, the scam or the fraud which as of now is on trend, that is digital arrest. And recently a case has taken place in Rajasthan which has raised eyebrows all over the corner, and the reason being that the victim has been duped with more than 7 CR. It means more than 7 crore rupees has been taken away from the victim in more than 40 transactions. Now the question rises that even after getting so much of awareness from the government side, then still why is this issue of cyber security or why is this issue of cyber arrest or the digital arrest is on a rise? And that is what we will be looking today. Hello and welcome to the in-depth series section of Drishti IAS. I am Aisha, and in today's episode we will be covering the topic of digital arrest and the issue of cyber security, what has been the matter, what has been the initiatives taken by the government, then what is the status with regard to cyber security or the digital fraud that is taking place in India. Topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 3, that is cyber security. So recently in the state of Rajasthan, a case has happened where around 7 crore rupees. Now imagine the amount is so huge that people could not believe that 7 crore rupees has been taken away from a person, and the person was also making transactions and was giving away the rupees one after the another. More than 40 transactions has been made. Now the point is that why is it happening? So let us move forward and look at these news. These news all talks about the aspect of digital scam, and then Operation Chakra 5. Then again comes the Operation Chakra 5 and the digital arrest aspect. Then the digital arrest scam. Now the CBI, that is the Central Bureau of Investigation, has launched the Operation Chakra. Now Operation Chakra talks about or deals with the digital fraud or digital scam that takes place, and it has been launched to do a crackdown on the digital arrest. So this recent case which has come up from Jhunjhun district from Rajasthan is under the Operation Chakra, that the crackdown has been made by the CBI, and that is when this case came up. So before moving forward, Drishti IAS Mukherjee Nagar classes has now shifted to Noida, and the admissions are open for the IAS GS Foundation course covering both prelims and mains. Admissions are open for both English medium and Hindi medium. In case of any query, give us a call at 87501. And there's a good news for the students who are using the Drishti Learning app with regard to the IAS GS online foundation batch student. So the artificial intelligence aspect has been added to make your study and to give your study a new approach and to make your study more smarter. So there are 3 highlight features of it, that is AI quiz, AI summary and ask me anything. Under the AI quiz you can see or you can attempt any quiz with regard to the topic which you are studying. Under the AI summary, the lecture that you are taking, you can get the summary of it, and under the ask me anything segment, you can ask from the artificial intelligence anything with regards to the topic. So CBI has arrested 4 people, 2 each from Mumbai and Muradabad, for their alleged involvement in digital arrest fraud, and the arrest has been made as part of Operation Chakra 5. So under the Operation Chakra, under this the 2 aspects which can be asked directly in the examination, first is digital arrest and second is Operation Chakra. So Operation Chakra by CBI, reason digital arrest, digital fraud, to do a crackdown on digital fraud. Now what is a digital arrest? What is a digital arrest? They are the newest form of cyber scam. Now cyber scam, you can say, is an umbrella term, and within the cyber scams there are many types of scams which comes, like for example phishing, ransomware, malware, and one of them is digital arrest. So digital arrest are the newest form of cyber scam, and it has affected in the year 2024 more than 90,000 Indians, and money is extracted through online transfers under the guise of resolving tax or legal dues. Now what is the modus operandi under the digital arrest? So now many a time you will hear in news that a person was sitting in front of the laptop and the digital camera was open, and then the person kept on making the transactions. So the modus operandi is basically, it starts first of all with the people who are trying to do this fraud. They target people. First of all, they target people, then they contact them through phone calls or through mails, and they pretend themselves to be belonging to any government organization, like for example income tax, the ED or the CBI, and when they make calls to the person representing as a person of these organizations, this creates panic and this creates fear in the mind of the people. And then they also show them a fake ID card or the fake mail ID, and everything is what they prepare. Then after getting in contact with them, they tell them some kind of lie that the person has been involved in some kind of scam, or the person's son or the person's daughter or the person's husband and wife or any spouse is involved in this kind of scam. So if the person needs to get away with that scam, then they need to follow the process. Many a times out of 100 people, imagine that 90 people are not paying attention to it, but even if 2 to 3 people pays attention to it, then the number of people getting involved and are becoming a victim of the digital arrest is on a rise and is very, very high. Now after that, after talking on phone, they try to get the person on the video call, and the video call can be through any medium, like for example WhatsApp, it can be through Skype or anything. And then when they bring the person in front of the video call, and that is where the harassment of the victim takes place, because then they are able to take the photograph of the victim, and then once they get the victim to the video call, they do not allow the victim to move away from the video call, and they put so much of pressure on the victim that the person starts making transactions one after the other, and that is why it is called digital arrest. Now arrest means that the person is stuck and the person finds himself or herself helpless and is not able to do something and has been caught in the middle of everything. Now about the status of cyber scams in India. So that is, you can say, a significant rise in both frequency and financial impact is taking place. It means the number of digital arrest is also on a rise, and the amount involved in digital arrest is also on a rise. And then the fraudsters cheating people of around rupees more than 33,000 crore in the last 4 years, including only in the year 2024 more than 22,000 crores. So you can say that thousands of crores of rupees is involved in the digital arrest and the digital fraud scam. Then the National Cyber Reporting Platform, which works under the Ministry of Home Affairs, it has also released data, and this data talks about that in the year 2021, the amount of people losing money was around 551 crore. Then in the year 2022, the amount increased to more than 2,300 crore. And now in the year 2023, the amount has reached to more than 7,000 crore. This shows that there is a exponential hike and an exponential increase in the amount of money people are losing because of the digital frauds. Then more than 1 lakh complaints were received in the year 2021, more than 5 lakh complaints received in the year 2022, and more than 11 lakh complaints have been received in the year 2023. And last year, that is the year 2024, more than 17 lakh complaints have been raised. Now imagine the magnitude, imagine the quantity, that how many people, these are the number of complaints. So there might be people who are not even complaining. So imagine the numbers that are on the rise, and this is taking place because people are getting caught in the digital arrest and they are losing their hard earned money in the span of few hours or few days. Now new money siphoning tactics. Now what are the ways through which a person is able to get so much of money from another person? One of the reasons is that the person who are taking money or who are performing this fraud, have multiple accounts. So we in India do not have any bar on how many accounts a person can have. Usually almost every person have 2 to 3 accounts, but there are people who have multiple accounts. So having multiple accounts, and apart from having multiple accounts, there is one more type, and that is the mule accounts. Now what happens is that these fraudsters, what they do is they take the working of the account of people who are marginalized, who are poor, who are vulnerable, whose account is there in the bank, but they do not have the enough money that they can deposit in their account. So their account do not have any money. The people from a very rural background, now what they do is they contact these people, they take the working or the authority of their accounts and they starts to operate it, and in return what they do is they give some amount to the person who is the owner of the account. Now when they are taking care of their accounts, they ask the person who is the victim from whom they are taking the money after the fraud. So the person deposits the amount in these accounts or transfers the amount in these accounts, and then from these accounts the fraudsters are taking money to some other account. So in middle of it, these are the people whose accounts are involved. Now if the police will get and will do the investigation of these cases, what will happen is that the police will be able to track the account transfer from the victim to these people, and then in the end who gets caught is the people whose accounts have been used by the fraudsters as mule account. So this is known as money mule. This is also one of the type that how the multiple account transactions are taking place. And then there are different withdrawal methods through which the fraudsters are taking money, and that is through checks, cash, through ATM. Then there is CBDC, that is the central bank digital currency. Then there is fintech, cryptocurrencies, ATMs, merchant payments and e-wallets, and the method that I just told you, multiple accounts and money mule. Then there are mule accounts, and mule accounts, what has the I4C, and in association with the government they have frozen more than 4.5 lakh mule accounts which they thought was fraudulent and were involved in many activities which should not be done. Now let us talk about the I4C, that is the Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center. So the Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center has been launched by the Ministry of Home Affairs in the year 2020 to deal with all types of cyber crimes, including the cyber fraud, in a comprehensive and coordinated manner. And within the cyber fraud aspect lies the digital arrest. Then the objective of I4C is, it is the nodal point to curb cyber crime in the country in a coordinated manner. Then fights against cyber crime committed against women and children. Then easy filing cybercrime related complaints, identifying trends and patterns. So it is basically the duty of the I4C to look that how the solution for the cyber crimes can be made, the complaints that people are filing, and how the redressal of these complaints can be done. So basically it is the nodal agency to look after the cyber crime which are taking place in the country. And the government as of now, if you are checking your email account, and also if you are checking your messages in your phone, then on regular basis the government is also sending you mails and the messages that you need to be very careful with regards to the increasing number of digital arrest cases which are taking place, or with regards to the cyber attack cases which are taking place. Then comes under the I4C the National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal has also been launched under the I4C, and it is a citizen-centric initiative which will enable citizens to report cyber crime or the cyber fraud online. So if any of you knows any kind of cyber fraud which is taking place, so you can report it on National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal. Then let us talk about the cyber security attacks. So few years back there was a very famous attack which took place, and that was the Pegasus attack, and many high profile journalists, politicians of India was also involved in it, and that was the case, you can say that was the highlight case from where people started to pay attention with regards to the cyber attacks that are taking place in the country. So about the cyber security attack, if we talk about, then different types of cyber security attacks can be phishing attack, then there is malware attack, viruses attack, ransomware attack, digital arrest, then spyware and keylogger, injection attack, malware attack, viruses. So different types of, but the most basic, few of the most basic is that when you open any kind of spam email in your account, then if you open those emails and open something which is not right and click on it, then the virus enters into your phone and is able to control your phone in just one click. Then if we talk about the recent major cyber attacks, few of it, that was the WannaCry ransomware attack which took place in the year 2017. Then there was the Cambridge Analytica data breach which took place in the year 2018. Then there was the Pegasus attack. Then the financial data of 9+ million card holders including SBI was leaked, and this took place in the year 2022. Now if we will talk few of the aspects with regard to the initiatives that the Indian government has been taken and at the global stages what has been done with regard to decreasing the cyber attacks problem in India and all over the world. So first let us talk about the international initiatives. So that is UN group of governmental expert on advancing responsible state behavior in cyber space. Then comes next, that is the Budapest Convention on Cyber Crime, and India is not a signatory to it. You need to star mark this point because Budapest Convention is the only convention which talks about the cyber crime and is related to the cyber crime, and very important part is India is not a signatory to the Budapest Convention. So Budapest Convention related to cyber crime, India not a signatory to it. Now coming on to the aspects or the initiatives that has been taken by the Indian government to reduce the cases of cyber crimes in India. So first is the IT Act 2000, then comes the National Cyber Security Policy in the year 2013, then National Cyber Security Strategy of the year 2020, then Cyber Surakshit Bharat Initiative, Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, and then Computer Emergency Response Team India. So all of these, the basic idea is to work for the citizens of this country. The basic idea is to decrease the number of cyber attacks which are increasing in our country, and then basically is to raise awareness that government is there to help the people, and also it is also the responsibility and the duty of the people to be very alert with regard to anything suspicious if they are able to find in their phone or in their email ID or at any online space which they are surfing. So these are few of the initiatives. Now what are the steps needed for cyber security? Few of the basic steps would be network security, malware protection, incident management, then comes the managing user privileges. So basically if you are using any of the sites or something and you have a password, make sure you are putting a strong password and you are changing your password at a regular interval. You are not sharing any kind of personal information with anyone on a very easy note. So these are few of the things with regards to the digital arrest and also with regard to the cyber arrest or the cyber security. And now in the end of prelims MCQ, and you people need to tell me the answer in the comments below. So it is a PYQ of the year 2020. In India, under cyber insurance for individuals, which of the following benefits are generally covered in addition to payment for the loss of funds and other benefits? First, cost of restoration of the computer system in case of malware disrupting access to one's computer. Second is cost of a new computer if some miscreant willfully damages it if proved so. Third is cost of hiring a specialized consultant to minimize the loss in case of cyber extortion. And fourth is cost of defense in the court of law if any third party files a suit. So these are the four statements given. Select the correct answer using the code given below, that is 1, 2 and 4 only, 1, 3 and 4 only, 2 and 3 only, or 1, 2, 3 and 4. As it is a PYQ, I expect you to give me the right answer. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading, keep writing, and keep subscribing to the channel. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.